This tactical map shows the front lines of the host of the Valar after 4 decades of continuous warfare. You can see their armies successfully converging and tightening around the northern gates of Morgoth's fortress, Angband. At this point, Morgoth's ground forces are entirely routed. Millions of orcs are dead, and the Balrogs are heavily depleted. But Morgoth possesses no capacity for mercy, which means he has no capacity to understand surrender, even as his outer defenses collapse. Suddenly, the Valar's advance halts. Deep subterranean chasms rupture, and massive plumes of black ash and smoke violently erupt from the deepest pits of Angband. The host of the West thought they had won a war of attrition on the ground, but Morgoth had kept an entirely different class of warfare in reserve. Out of the ash comes Ancalagon the Black. He is the first and the largest of the winged fire drakes, a massive biological weapon bred in total, absolute darkness. Look at this vector graphic comparing Ancalagon's wingspan against the regional geography of the Iron Mountains. His biological scale is so massive that his wings function as a localized weather system, physically blotting out the sun as he takes flight. Up until this moment, the Valar's army was strictly an infantry force. They have absolutely no tactical defense against high-altitude, concentrated aerial fire. The dragon host unleashes firestorms accompanied by lightning. Elven and human armor melts, forcing the Valar into a rapid retreat to survive. By deploying Ancalagon, Morgoth instantly neutralized a 40-year numerical advantage. The momentum of a continent-spanning war reverses in a single afternoon. The countermeasure arrives from the Western Sea. The half-elven mariner Eandoril breaches the darkened sky in a flying ship called Vingalot. On his brow, Eandoril wears a silmaril, a jewel containing the holy light of the two trees. This specific luminescence cuts directly through the unnatural darkness and smoke generated by the dragons, and he is not flying alone. Thorondor, the king of eagles, breaks through the cloud cover, bringing a vanguard of massive celestial birds. Ground troops could not reach Ancalagon. Engaging Morgoth's weapon required this highly mobile celestial air force to fight entirely in the upper atmosphere. The eagles and the dragon host lock into a continuous dogfight that lasts for an entire day and night. This vertical cross-section of the atmosphere maps the collision zones. It is tactical gridlock, Ancalagon's overwhelming mass and fire colliding against the sheer agility of Vingalot and the eagles. Slowly, the dragon's flight paths are compressed downward, forced to lose altitude. Draining the physical momentum of a continent-sized biological weapon requires exactly this kind of sustained attritional pressure. Arundel and the eagles simply outlast him. Just before the sun rises, the stalemate breaks. Arundel maneuvers Vingalot close enough to strike a fatal blow against Ancalagon the Black. The dragon dies in the upper atmosphere. Stripped of flight, his colossal serpentine body succumbs to gravity, plummeting through the clouds at a terrifying velocity. He strikes the earth directly on top of Thangorodrim, the 3 towering active volcanoes that sit above Morgoth's fortress. The sheer kinetic force of the impact shatters the volcanic peaks into rubble. Ancalagon's biological mass was so immense that his defeat inherently weaponized his own corpse. Killing him triggered an unavoidable geological catastrophe. With his fortress crushed and his ultimate weapon dead, Morgoth's remaining forces are entirely routed. The host of the Valar descends into the deepest, exposed mines of Angband. They capture Morgoth, bind him in the great chain Angainor, and eventually exile him into the timeless void. This topographical map shows the continent of Beleriand fracturing under seismic stress. The landmass floods and sinks entirely beneath the ocean. The surviving human allies abandon the flooded ruins, migrating westward across the sea to settle on the isolated island of Numenor. Defeating Morgoth cost millions of lives and required neutralizing the largest dark weapon in history. Achieving that victory required the sacrifice of an entire continent.